Join us as we sit down with remarkable individuals from various walks of life who face their fair share of obstacles and emerged with positivity. Each episode, you'll hear inspiring stories, actionable tips, and wisdom that can supercharge your own journey when using adversity as motivation. Let's learn together. Welcome to Lauer Power.
Welcome to another episode of Lauer Power alongside Chad Lauer. I'm Chad Evans. This is a podcast where we like to use adversity as motivation. Chad, great to be with you once again, pal.
Great to be with you,
Cheers.
Chad. Cheers, man. I'm super excited to bring you this podcast today where we're going to have a guest, Brian Majors, who is just an awesome inspiration, and I've met through playing basketball at Susquehanna University. In our leadership topic of the day is going to be preparation, and his company's major preparation. It makes perfect sense. So I actually wanted to start this podcast with a funny story, Chad. So have you always been prepared when you're going into meetings or workplaces? Or
Yeah, but I always crunch.
So do I,
You
right?
know, I always crunch for the preparation.
So I like to be prepared, but in sales, sometimes you're running around so fast that you can't properly prepare every day. And I've spent my whole career in sales. So I got to tell this funny story, man, to start this podcast. So one time I had like 4 meetings in one day, and I'm going from meeting to meeting to meeting, and I'm meeting with all different types of businesses. So I'd go from like the top of the Comcast building, meeting with big time lawyers, to meeting with an auto repair shop, to meeting at a coffee shop with, a tree service. So I would sometimes have to prepare on the fly. Well, I was running late. It was my last meeting of the day. I was meeting with a tree service at Panera Bread. And during the meeting, I'm trying to research where they're ranking, where they're coming up online. I'm not really paying attention because I wasn't properly prepared. So I'm multitasking. I'm having a conversation with this woman and prepping on my computer. And she starts showing me pictures of her daughter. Now, I'm like mid-20s. She's like, "You need to meet my daughter." And I was like, okay. I was in a
one of those meetings.
Yeah, one of those meetings,
Yeah.
right? Just trying to hook somebody up, whatever. So she's showing me pictures of her daughter as I'm going back and forth to my computer to make sure I could go over something that makes sense in this meeting. And I'm like, nice picture, nice picture. And then she shows me a picture, and it was her daughter with somebody standing right next to her. And I kind of glanced at it, and I said, "Oh, is that her and her boyfriend?" And she proceeded to say, "No, Chad, that's me." So, long story short, the fact that I wasn't prepared cost me that deal. I kind of packed up my computer and I went home for the day. So sometimes not being prepared can set us up for an embarrassing moment like that. And I'll never forget that day. But
Innocent mistake.
it was an innocent
It's an
mistake.
innocent mistake.
But the point of it is she got really, really mad at me. And had I been prepared and had I just known everything was ready for me to present, I probably would have noticed that just because she had her hair pulled up, that it was still her and it wasn't me thinking it was her daughter's boyfriend. So anyway, it's always important to be prepared, pal.
I'm so glad to hear that because, yes, preparation is the most valued things in terms of sales. You got to be prepared.
Yeah. And listen, that's a funny story. And all joking aside, the more prepared you are, the better you set yourself up for success.
There you go. Preparation is key. It's all about the pre-production in my life. The pre-production as opposed to production itself.
That's right. And listen, I want to tell the audience too, you and I have worked on some videos together in production. And I'll tell you, the one thing that my clients at Lauer Media have loved when they work with you is the experience of the day. So it's not just about the video, right? So I'll tell a quick story. You did a video shoot for one of Lauer Media's home healthcare agencies.
Oh, yeah.
And you called them the talent. in the email for the plan of attack for the shoot day. And they talked to me about that for years. They're like, he called us the talent.
Yeah,
we're the talent.
They're the talent.
They were prepared like they were the talent. And they all tell me how great the experience is. So, again, it does matter. And we need to try to be as prepared as possible.
That's exactly right.
So that leads me to the intro of our guest today. And Brian Majors is just an inspiration. He literally is out there making a difference in so many people's lives. Right now, he stands as a retired professional basketball player from the Harlem Globetrotters organization.
So awesome.
It's truly amazing. He is known as the modern day hope dealer. He is an Amazon #1 best-selling author, Black Enterprise recognized author, a college adjunct professor, professional basketball trainer, character and development coach. And he's had an impact on thousands of lives and is really leaving his mark on the world. I mean, he visits jails, he visits correctional facilities. He is just an awesome and inspiring leader, and we can't wait to share his story with you today. Brian Majors, I'm so happy to have you on the podcast today. And before we get started and I introduce you, I want to give the listeners a little bit of a backstory. So Brian's been a leader as long as I've known him. And I've mentioned on previous podcasts that I played on some really good teams at Susquehanna, played on some really bad teams at Susquehanna, and I played on an average team at Susquehanna. So Brian is from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and Brian was a star point guard. And my junior year, we were about 500, and we were recruiting Brian, and this dude sent me a message on Facebook. Let me remind you guys, Facebook was literally in its inception, right? And he said, yo, I'm about to come there, and we're going to turn this around, right? Literally, I didn't even meet him yet. He literally, and I'm team captain as a junior, he sends me a picture. He says, yo, I'm about to come there, and we're going to turn this around. And it kills me. It absolutely kills me. It's what is it? January 9th, 2024, that I never got to play with Brian. And this is a long intro, but I'm going to tell you why. Brian not only was a leader on the basketball court, he's a leader off the basketball court, but our games were similar. We took pride in D'ing up more than anything. And when you D up, it's effort. And I'm not knocking the guys that scored, right? I'm not knocking those guys. Everybody has to score. But Brian left the school with the all-time steals record and assists record, and he turned it around. And unfortunately, because of my brain tumor, I missed it. But it kills me that I never got to play with Brian. But what happened was I still was around, and I got to watch Brian work, and I got to watch him lead, and I got to learn from him even though I was older than him. So, Brian, I'm so happy to have you on the podcast today. The Lauer Power podcast is about using adversity as motivation. You've done so much, right? Now, we're a little bit older than what I'm talking about in this story, but what I would like to do is tell the audience about your story. You've used your adversity as motivation, and the most inspiring thing about you is you've been able to scale that motivation to so many kids and creating a brand. So today I'd like you to tell us your story about Major Prep, how it got started, and how you got to where you are today. Sound good?
No, that's perfect, Chad. It's perfect, bro. But first, man, I want to give you your flowers first, man, because that story, and I tell you pretty often, every chance we get, man, to get on a call or something or shoot you a message, because, bro, like, more than you know, you changed my life, bro. Like, Dave Brown pretty much brought me to SU. Coach Marcenic was great. But, bro, meeting you, seeing your energy, bro, like I messaged you, like, for real. I'm like, we going to do this. We going to do this. Like, we going to turn this all the way around. And that was because of you, bro. Like, everybody else who I asked about, the captain and X, Y, and Z, and they're like, yo, Chad, man, you getting good with Chad. Like, I'm telling you. The coach even says, man, Chad missed one other, like, point guard of your energy, man, and match his, and it's going to be a no-brainer. Like, we're going to be able to really win, like, as soon as you get here. And it was just like, man, Chad, bro, like, you really were the one who made me get committed to SU, man, and even learning your story, doing some back history as well on you, and then Coach telling me what happened, and even talking with you. I'm like, bro, like, these 4 years is way deeper than me. I didn't even get to ride out with Cap like I always call you the way I really wanted to.
Yep.
But, man, like, it just made me really appreciate life, man, appreciate every opportunity. I came from Harrisburg, but I love basketball. I never took it for granted. But, man, hearing your story, that really made me like really get motivated and really not take no day off, no practice off, no rep off, no possession off, and take pride in every single one because you never knew when the last one was going to be the last one.
I appreciate that. I mean, that's the thing. Any athletes listening, it was taken away from me, and it was my life. And, that it connected us though, right? Like it those teammates and the camaraderie that you gain through sport. It's so awesome. So yeah, thank you for that, Brian. I appreciate it. So tell us your story though. Everybody knows my story. Tell me your story.
Oh, wow. So I'm Brian Majors, the owner of Major Preparation, as you can see, a company that has been started since 2012. The motto of the brand is stay focused, remain humble, and keep working. And I grew up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I'm the youngest of 4 African-American men at this time. All have high school diplomas, bachelor degrees, master degrees, and I have a PhD in common sense, which I love to say. Not everybody always gets that. So I'm going to say that one more time. I got a PhD in common sense. But again, that just came from being able to learn, listen, and watch from people around me and not have to make the same similar mistakes, but also follow other people's success paths and follow those footsteps as well. Got an academic scholarship at Susquehanna University in 2006, 2010, which I graduated. I was able to transition to Penn State Harrisburg and get my master's degree. In 2012, I ended up building 3 businesses at the same time. And I've been nonstop at it ever since, man.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, tell us a little bit about those businesses. So you have 3 businesses?
Yeah, so 3 businesses that I'm the CEO of, and then a few others that I'm just partnered in with. But my first business, where it all started, was Major Prep Basketball, where I've been training kids from 6 to all the way to pros since 2012. I had countless numbers of athletes go through my programs and trainings and be able to go to Division 3, 2, and 1. There was a variety of pros that I trained as well, who made it to NBA, made it overseas, called them Globetrotters as well. And just been able to build and help develop student athletes through the game of basketball, but develop them through life. My next company is Major Prep Apparel, which is our luxury athleisure clothing line, where we provide luxury athleisure apparel to individuals, teams, companies all over the world, and just make them feel really empowered when they put on our brand and have a mindset of success and understand the art of preparation. And so 12 years later, we built the culture for those who understand the art of preparation, the power of preparation. And then my last company is Brian Majors LLC, where I'm a motivational consultant and educational consultant as well, where I go school to school, city to city, state to state, country to country, and provide people with the hope needed in order to find their purpose, passion, and pursue their dreams and their goals.
And Brian, what motivated you to be this entrepreneurial and try to make such a difference?
My adversity.
Tell us about that.
I got a lot of pride, man. My adversity was May 9th, 2008. It was the worst and best day of my life. The kind of quick backstory of it, again, I mentioned I was the youngest of 4 African-American men at this point. All of us have, again, great educational backgrounds, and we were blessed to be one of those families that have a mother and father growing up our entire lives from the inner city of Harrisburg, where it's not really common. And our parents instilled in us so much morals, values, and characteristics about respect, leadership, accountability, having big dreams, big goals, but understanding that adversity is going to be guaranteed in your life, that you either got to grow through it or you're going to go through it. And if you grow through it, you're going to be able to have the resilience to grow through it and keep evolving. Or at times you got to go through it and it's going to like maybe take a really, really big toll on your life. But that was one of the things we learned so early on, that by the time different adversities hit me, I just knew they were stepping stones. And my mindset was instilled at that. So to fast forward to May 9th, 2008, because my father had passed away. He had to have heart surgery and didn't make it through his heart surgery. And none of my brothers, my mom, I saw us crying in regards of our loss. It was a cry of and pain of our father went on to heaven, but now it just brought us together to make sure that we are bonded stronger than ever. Our family unity is stronger than ever, and we have to take more pride in our dreams and our goals stronger than ever to make sure that he has a reason to keep smiling down on us every single day. that we live and that we blessed with. And for me, it was just following my brother's lead. My oldest brother is a city councilman. My next older brother is a serial real estate entrepreneur. My twin brother currently is now working for the state troopers in the detail for the governor. And I'm a serial entrepreneur myself, but our motivation, not even my mom has been in leadership positions pretty much the last 30 years of her life. So for me, as the youngest of our family, I took great pride in you're only as strong as your weakest link. So being the youngest, I always felt like I had to be one of the strongest links because I'm the youngest. My brothers are super strong, but when my father passed, I knew I had to be the one to hold it all together as the baby boy. And he's been my motivation every single day. I wake up every day, I thank him, I pray for him, I tell him, I'm putting another show for you today. And since then, I've been putting on a show for him ever since, nonstop.
Dude, what a story. And you call yourself the modern day hope dealer, not dope dealer. Tell us a little bit about that. Man,
this was during COVID that name got pushed over to me. It was during COVID, and it was a time where I was still transitioning a little bit because my business model has been so much being outside with the community, is being able to be in people's faces and be at schools and be at juvenile probation some companies and jails and just be in front of people. And for me, it was, all right, there's no more of that. So how do I pivot? How do I make the adjustment to still be able to make an impact and still have business flow? So my book that I wrote called Training for Triumph was really, really impactful. I created a leadership and character development course for students and adults and families to go through and talk through and work through while they were inside and confined through COVID. And after a parent had read the book, took the course, she had called me and was in tears and was just like, Brian, you gave me so much. You gave me and my family so much hope. Like I don't even know how to repay you. So we ended up talking through her experience of the book and the course. I hung up the phone. I'm like, man, I'm like a modern day hope dealer. And it stuck. And I've been running with it like the last 3 years since, man. And I did my research. Nobody says they're a modern day hope dealer. And I trademarked it. And I'm like, man, I gotta go with it. And I've been taking pride with it more and more every single day since that time. But man, like that call with that lady gave me chills, man. And just knowing how much my resilience and my adversities and being able to tell the story impacted her and her whole family. That from there on, I was like, I'm the modern day hope dealer. I'm it. I'm him. I'm owning it. I'm not putting dope in people's hands, kids' hands. I'm providing them hope and strategic steps on how to find a purpose, turn it into their passion, turn it into their profit, and pursue their greatness.
And I love that, man. And I've read the book, obviously. And can you tell us a little bit about the impact the book has had, right? So I think for the folks listening, we have people listening from all over. I just looked at our recent statistics, Belgium, Philippines, India.
I love it.
All over, right? And that gets me excited. But like growing up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So we've talked on our previous podcast, Chad and I have a passion for the coal region, which is why I recently moved home. And we're struggling in the coal region, right? There's a drug epidemic and we're really fighting that. And Danielle in our previous episodes, she has a recovery center and we're fighting a battle. But tell us kind of what it's like growing up in inner city Harrisburg and the impact that you're having.
Man, growing up, at least during my time growing up in Harrisburg, it was, at this point, I'm so thankful for it and thankful for the people who were in my life. Because growing up, it was like so drug infested. Everybody was able to be pushed through school without understanding a bigger picture, a bigger version for themselves ultimately. And I mean, I grew up with some of my closest friends being the biggest drug dealers, the best athletes and best drug dealers. I also had a group of friends where some of our family dynamics were also the same. We both had a mother and father and brothers and sisters. And it was like my family, my upbringing, we were like a good equal medium. Like we were right on the brink where we could have went left, where some of our friends went left and got off the path of being focused toward a big dream, big goal. or we could have stayed right or went right. But we found that, okay, some friends, people who do go right and stay right, they might not have had the resilience to get back and find that good path where they still may like spiral. So we had some friends who turned left towards the streets, towards drugs, towards different things that weren't as good to do, and we saw that they spiral. But my upbringing and my family dynamic, they said, "No, we're gonna stay on this major path towards our own greatness, and we not wavering left or right." You might have friends who turn left, friends who turn right, but you better get your butt back on track on this path that we have, so that we can be inspiration, and we can be that equal medium when friends who turn left, they might need that day or two to get back into a safe place for themselves, so they can come to our home, they can get fed, they can feel love, they can play the video game, they can make sure they get in their practice on time. But friends who are on the right path can come back to this major lane and feel a little bit of mix, but still on line in alignment with their own family dynamic, morals, and values. So that for us, man, it was key. I had drug dealers, friends who used to make sure that we didn't turn left because they gave us money. But I mean, for myself growing up, it was seeing so many friends with the money, the cars, the clothes, the girls, after the games, during school, while it's me pretty much sitting in front of the classroom, getting good grades, working so hard, and having a battle with, dang, they have that. Why don't I? Why don't my brothers? Why don't we have certain things that they have? But our lane, our major path was what we had to stick with and what we had to stay on. And it was just always futuristic thinking of, don't worry about nothing else but this. In the future, you'll still have it. Do you want that now and be able to be jeopardized with your life and lose 10 to 15 years of your life? Or do you want to be focused now, and then by the time you're 25, 30, 40, you living just like this where you can actually really enjoy it? So, man, there was a lot of distractions growing up, but our family dynamic, our friends understood and respected our lane, just like we respected decisions they made. And for us, it was just able to stay locked in on that and still respect other people's journeys and paths as well.
Right. And I think that's the thing. We have to realize that, just because we decide that doesn't mean everybody else has to follow. But tell me a little bit about what happens when you visit, like you mentioned, especially with Training for Triumph, you're visiting jails.
Yeah.
Give me an insight on what happens when you go to a jail and you're bringing your Major Prep brand. Talk to me about what happens.
Man, this was the most powerful jail visit I had. It was last year. It was in Virginia. Man, I've been about 5 jails already so far. This past year was the 5th jail I've been to. I mean, I was sitting next to lifers, guys who had 30, 40 years. And to see these guys in almost tears from this story, they already had a copy of the book. So by the time I got to be there, it was almost like a summary recap of the book. So for these guys to actually see me in person, who look like them, story, upbringing, real similar, but one decision away, one friend away, and then so relatable in regards to their lives and their decisions, mind-blowing. I mean, lifers with tears coming down their eyes, guys who were in there for not even 3 months, tears coming down their eyes because of the upbringing that they wish that they had, the understanding that they had friends who put dope in their hand versus hope in their hand. That friend who told them to skip school early to go smoke weed, and now they've been addicted to all types of different drugs. So, man, the life stories and I've heard and the impact that it's been able to make has been mind-blowing. Not everybody's been able to have an upbringing of friends who respect your decision and don't go clowning you and thinking you're different or thinking you're better than somebody else because you don't want to do something. But these jail visits, mind-blowing, because people are just usually one friend away, one choice away from staying on a good, strong, straight path to making a decision that can spiral into many others, which lands them incarcerated.
It's crazy when you put it that way, literally and we've all made bad decisions, right? Every one of us has made bad decisions. And when you put it that way, it's that simple. Chad and I have a passion for, trying to change some of our culture, but how do we fix it, right? You're an author. Is it mostly education? Is that the key? We need to educate folks about how quickly this stuff can get out of hand, or what do we do as leaders in our communities to continue to improve on these issues? I
mean, I think it's working from reverse engineering. We talked a little bit about reverse engineering earlier.
Yep.
And I love the reverse engineering theories and methodologies, because when you start them super young, yeah, they still have time to waver off. But if you can transition them and really get their mind locked on a bigger goal at 3, 4, or 5 years old and stay on them until they get to that middle school level, the high school level, then they become so focused already. So we have I do a lot of curriculum work with high school, middle school, and elementary school. I love the elementary kids because you can really get them in the business plan to get them excited about something. And then like they really take off with it. But then the middle schoolers, they're sometimes usually at a point already where, again, they went through COVID. Like they're a COVID baby. They were in 6th, 7th, 8th grade going through COVID and life stopped for them. So now they got so introverted. High school, some of them are the same way. But I think as leaders, we got to just take more pride in not only just the educational piece, but the character piece in the youth. Not only just the pi times 3 divided by 6 equal. It's no. When you face some adversity, what's going to be your next way to channel it? You know what I mean? So I think it's more so of that I found is really a lot more powerful than anything right now.
I'm excited. I want to talk some hoops because you were part of the Harlem Globetrotters organization a little bit. So tell us about that experience. What was that like?
Man, that came about because, again, this is the power of relationships, the power of seeing somebody else in their journey and their purpose and respecting them and being genuinely happy for them, and wanting to be an asset in any way possible. So that's one of the reasons why I met you, I saw you. I'm like, yo, this dude, Chad, energy's crazy, man. Like, I respect it so much. I want to be a part. I want to be an asset any way I can. But one of my mentors, Chris Franklin, he's been a Globetrotter for, I hate getting his number wrong, but he's about almost 20 years. And when I was started training in 2012, he was the first client to let me use him as one of my clients. He was my mentor, but I'm working him out. So he was the first person who I pretty much ever trained, and he was a pro Harlem Globetrotter. And I put him through all types of rigorous workouts, and I've been his mentee. He's been my mentor for years, which ended up growing to a big brother, little brother relationship. And 2017, I had moved to North Carolina to run the after-school program. Long story short, the funding got cut. I made a call to Chris Franklin. Chris, my program just got cut for all the funding. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. Like, is there any way I can try out for the Harlem Globetrotters? He's like, no problem. He made a call. 10 minutes later, I talked to the guy, the general manager, or one of the guys who I just was working, the player development manager, I'm sorry. And he made me had me a flight to New Jersey, Wildwood, New Jersey. The very next week, I flew down to New Jersey, and that same day on the spot, they ended up giving me, let me know they were going to give me a contract to play for the Harlem Globetrotters.
Dude, what an amazing story, right? And Brian, I came to visit you, right? Like I saw you play in Allentown, and as the Harlem Globetrotters organization, did you fly all over the world, or tell us a little bit about that? We
flew literally all over the world. I was on a 2.5 year sprint like a rock star. Yeah, you just don't know. Like that's really the greatest show on earth. Yeah, really I have nothing bad to say about that organization because it's literally, especially for me, like I was already pretty mature. I was already late 20s, already into entrepreneurship, already understood a lot of aspects about life, business. So I knew I wouldn't have been able to do it for a very long time, but the experience of it, I'm like, man, this experience will help elevate the importance of preparation and be another story for whoever else. Because I had dreams of going to the NBA, had dreams of going to be overseas pro and everything. I had the hoop dream. And then 7-8 years after college, I've already retired and I'm still in shape and then will still be able to go perform at a high caliber for 2.5 years straight for Harlem Globetrotters of Washington in general. Almost every NBA arena, almost every D1 college, which was always my dream. So I literally was able to live out my dream. But man, I mean, the accountability you learn, the level of respect that you have to learn, the accountability, the time management, understanding routine, understanding how to separate life and business and life and just being able to separate, most importantly, again, this life and inspiring and making sure that you make one person smile.
I can see Chad over here. Chad's an entertainer, right? So it's pretty awesome that's the perspective of the Globetrotters.
Yeah, man.
The hoops piece, I have so many questions for you, but the leadership topic of the day is preparation, right? So we come with the leadership topic of the day. Tell us how we can be better prepared in life and business for whatever's going to come our way. What are your tenets of being prepared?
Man, this is real powerful, and it's really hard to do. But once you do it, it makes you lock into a really, really bigger picture. So anybody listen, I need you to really write this part down because this is real powerful. And I'm still working on this myself because it's so hard to think it through. But I call it the four preparation aspect, four corners of preparation, which is mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual preparation. What I love the people to do is that get a piece of paper, one sheet, notebook, however many, whatever it is you want to write down your notes in here. But you have to write down 300 mental goals, 300 mental preparation goals in order to prosper. After you get to 25, 30, you're going to be like, man, what else do I do? What else am I capable of? So I'm only still to like 173 right now, my mental. I'm around that 160, 170, 180-ish in all four aspects here, though. But the mental aspect, you write down as many mental preparation goals in order to prosper as you possibly can. You're done with that list, you write as much as you can, then you go to your spiritual. What can you do almost to 300 spiritual preparation goals in order to prosper? You write down as many as you can. You go to your emotional and your physical, and you do the same thing. So it makes you think about, okay, these are the goals I want to achieve. When you would start to achieve these goals and your list starts to get shorter, by the time you end up getting to whatever number you capped out off, it's like, now do your goals end, or do you keep going for more? Do you keep writing more goals when your perspective is probably going to be, okay, I accomplished all that already. Let me go try to accomplish some more. So that way your mind goes to, there's nothing that you can't accomplish because you start to see things you already checked off, things you already been preparing for. So what it does, it eliminates time for distractions, nonsense, craziness, because you go look at this list every day. I got so much more to do. I got so much more to achieve. And I'm still trying to get to 300. So by the time all that happens, now your mind is transitioned. You wake up ready to go. You go to sleep, winding down. I just need a good power nap. I'm back up because I got some more to achieve. And that's my secret to major preparation. Is your mental, physical, emotional, spiritual preparation in order to prosper. Write down 300 goals or try to get 300 for all four aspects. And you're going to find a way to find your purpose, your passion, learn how to profit through it, and learn how to prosper through it. But when you can get through those, man, there's going to be no stopping you. No loss, no death, no contract, no nothing is going to be able to stop you because your list of what you have to achieve is so big. That's 1,200 goals you got to try to achieve. 1,200.
Dude, that's fabulous. I mean, if we're going to take one nugget from this podcast, I mean, that is absolutely amazing. And I got to go to, you guys know me, sales. I see you're rocking the Susquehanna gear right now with the major prep on it, right? You have created an apparel, which is a cultural brand, right? It's not a lifestyle brand. Tell us about how you build a brand. And I got to tell you a story quick. I know I'm asking you a question, but I'm rambling. So you're building a brand. So I want to know how you sell your brand, because we talk about sales on this podcast, but I have to tell you a quick story. I love to work kids out. It's my passion. I love basketball. I'm training some kids at the local gym. It's a Ralpho gym in Elysburg, Pennsylvania. World of a different place than Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And my wife comes over to me and she says, hey, those backpacks over there say major prep on them. So I go over and there's these two girls whose backpacks have major prep on them in Elysburg, Pennsylvania, right? And so I go over to them. I say, girls, where'd you get those backpacks? And they said, well, we were at a tournament in Wilkes-Barre. And they got them in a tournament in Wilkes-Barre. And I'm sitting here thinking, dude, my life just came full circle, right? So you're building a brand. Tell us how you build a brand. And tell us how you've been able to get so many sports teams wearing your brand on their warm-ups, their jerseys, their shorts, their backpacks, their gears.
That story is crazy.
It's real.
That's crazy. But it's like, so my perspective on this, to answer this in a nutshell, is Phil Knight told you to do what?
Yeah, just do it.
Phil Knight told you to just do it, right? Simple as that. The world has bought into his mindset. Not even the apparel, they bought into his perspective and his mindset and his message. Just do it. If you know Nike, you're going to think all over the world, just do it. Kevin Plank told us to do what? To own Under Armour. And I mean, this is great, though, because it's like what I always dive into heavily is Kevin Plank's the owner of Under Armour, and his motto is protect his house. So my perspective on his house is your own body, is your own mind, your own family. Protect your own goals. So you protect it and you believe that, okay, I'm going to keep this thing close to me. I'm going to keep this goals and mindset, my goals, mindset, my dreams close to me. I'm going to protect it and I'm going to go get them. So Brian Majors is telling you to stay focused, remain humble, and keep working. And I'm living it. So at this point, what I'm saying, stay focused, that's in regards to your dreams and your goals. Stay on your path towards your greatness. Stay focused. And you remain humble as you achieve new goals. And these 1,200 goals, when you start to achieve them, you're going to get into a rhythm that you can achieve anything in the world. But you have to remain humble as you achieve them, so more blessings, more opportunities, more people will understand what you're doing. Their message will start to come together organically. And then it's after you start to achieve these 300 list goals and all four angles, you keep working to achieve more. So after this 1,200 is done, you work on your next 1,200. The work don't stop. So now what's happening is where people can do the same thing is they can understand, stay focused, remain humble, and keep working. So they're not really buying the apparel. They can go get apparel from anywhere. But they're buying and falling in love with the culture and the message to where if you see MP, there's a story that resonates. If you type in Major Prep apparel, Major Prep basketball, Major Prep motivational speaker, it's coming up. So you're going to see it right away. You're going to go, look, man, this is motivational. Man, this is, okay, I like this guy's energy. I like what he's on. I can go see his story. He did all of that. I'm Major Prep. I'm prepped up. I'm ready. I'm empowered. I'm focused. And they can wear it with pride and then go research and see a tons of content all about Major Prep all over the world right now. They can go to the social media pages and see it blown up. So now the schools are just buying into the culture and the message and not me anymore because we don't know Kevin Plank. We still buy Under Armour.
Right.
We don't know Phil Knight. We still buy tons of Nikes. So we bought into the message, and that's where the transformation happens for a brand and the scale and the sales. And we've just been selling the culture these last few years now.
And are you cold calling, or how are you getting in with these schools?
So at the beginning, we did cold calling. At first, it was very first team was a wrestling team when I first started. One of my business mentors, Leland Nelson, for his wrestling team, he bought the first set of like 25 Major Prep shirts because he understood the vision. He understood what we were doing. And it was, you know what, B? I understand you want to be big as Nike. We're going to start right here. This is going to be the foundation. So he bought 25 shirts for his wrestling little youth team. Boom. I'm like, okay, we on to something. The kids loved them. They knew me still. This is 13, 12 years ago. So I was so much embedded with them. I'm doing so much with them already. Now they're wearing like, this is B-Made. This is Major Prep. So excited. So then transitions to, okay, now we will have to start cold calling a few years later. Before we even got heavy back into it, though, it was just getting the message out. I mean, we were giving out free T-shirts. We were at every event. We were giving stuff away just so people understand the message. And then it became to, okay, let's start some cold calls. We got a few teams on board. We understood the process and the system, the turnaround time, the quality of materials, the differentiations. And then now it got to the point where it was word of mouth between team to team. To now it just became, man, one of the leading brands right now. We're friends who are coaches. They're making sure their team was wearing Major Prep because they understand the message. They saw the growth from day 1 to day 12 to year 12. They see all the other schools and teams and the marketing aspects that we use with making sure every team got great quality pictures where their players can take the pictures in the gear. I mean, and then it's just to the point now where our systems are aligned. sales get turned over. Quality is phenomenal. We able to match the price match and be able to just help people get into our culture of what we're building.
Dude, that's phenomenal. You're literally building something great. And I love it because your goal is Nike and Under Armour, right? And you truly believe that. And I can see that in you. It's funny. I see pictures of you from day one with your apparel all stacked up as you're getting ready to deliver it, you know, back in the day, but one by one. It reminds me, like, there's this famous picture I saw once of Sarah Blakely, who started a company called Spanx in her garage. And, you know, she literally just was grinding, and it reminds me of that. And we're going to look back one day, and you're going to look at those pictures when you're 25, and we're going to say, that happened. Right, we're gonna say he literally spoke this into reality, and I think that's the other thing that people listening, entrepreneurs live their business. We don't go to work, right? You're literally talking about how much you can't wait to wake up in the morning because of your goals and what you're trying to build, and that's the coolest thing about entrepreneurship. And sometimes we don't make as much money as we could in other businesses, but we wake up so driven because it's our baby and we want to make a difference. And you're doing that, dude. And it's just awesome. Real quick, I need to talk to you just about training, right? Because another part of it, you own your own gym now in Harrisburg, right?
Yeah. Partnership. It's a partnership of it, yeah.
You're a partner in a gym in Harrisburg.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a part owner in a gym in Harrisburg. So when we're training young kids, right, there's been this kind of back and forth, and we can use this as sales or any profession, music, whatever. But how much of our time needs to be spent on skill development, character, that listening piece versus just going and playing, in your opinion?
So I bring it down to where I try to make all three aspects, character development, player development, confidence, and in-game development. I try to make them in every single workout that I do. So this is the secret how I've been able to help develop student athletes, and specifically basketball players, develop so fast. Is like, it's initially, we're not playing around when we're in here. I only treat my 6-year-olders no different than my pros. That's the groundwork. That's the foundation. So if you a 6-year-older coming to see me, like, we ain't double dribbling. It ain't nice. It ain't sweet. It ain't okay, little buddy. Try it again. I'm talking to you like a pro. So that's the first aspect, so I can speed up the development and understand, like, this is the foundation. This is how we work when we're in here. But then when it goes to the skill work, which is the drill work that we do, is every time I am correcting them, I'm correcting them and I'm giving them reason why. I'm giving them, hey, man, we're doing this so much because this is going to build your resistance. This is going to build your repetition. And resilience is going to do this for you. So I'm giving them why resilience is important. I'm giving them why repetition is important. But let's do it again 5 more times. Let's do it sharp every single time you do it. Because if you don't do it sharp 4 or 5 times, you're going to lose your rhythm. And if you lose your rhythm in life, you may spiral way out of control. So I'm talking to them about life through every experience. So that's how we build first the rhythm and foundation. That's how we build their work ethic, their mindset. And then the last half an hour, last 20 minutes is always some kind of competitive nurture, some kind of competitive experience. I don't even say competitive drill or competitive game. I always call it competitive experience, so that they either got to outwork themselves, outwork me as a quote unquote. So say if I'm training somebody 6 years old and it's a one-on-one workout session, all right, you got to make 7 out of 10 or you lose versus me. If you don't make 7 laps, you got to do 4 sprints and 4 bear crawls. So now you lose. And if you lose, you handle your work, you handle your business, you handle the consequence, and you can try again, or you take your loss, or you turn it into a lesson right away, because I hate the word loss, but you turn this lesson, this loss, which most don't understand yet, into a lesson, and you think about why you missed those 3 extra laps, which made you have to do these 4 sprints and 4 bear crawls, so that we can redo it again the next session. So that's the competitive nature, or some kind of competitive game, maybe doing one-on-one games, whatever the case may be, if they're partnered up. But I incorporate all 3 every single session, every single workout.
Dude, I love that, man. I mean, listen, there's so many youth coaches, and everybody kind of is on YouTube now. But if you're missing one of those, you're missing the boat. And it gives me a little bit of confidence because I like to be a little tougher on my kids. I like to treat them like really good basketball players. And I think that's how they learn. Yeah. So thanks for that tip, and we really appreciate it. So listen, man, I know we're up against it. This was an awesome podcast. I think we have so many. I got my notebook out. I think a lot of others are going to have their notebook. And Brian, you can check him out at Major Preparation. They have multiple websites. Check him out on social media. Brian Majors, Major Prep Apparel. Training for Triumph is his book. And I think that you'll gain a lot of wisdom for what Brian is sharing out there. So, Brian, thank you so much for joining us. And
my pleasure, man.
We'll talk soon, buddy. Chad, what an interview with Brian Majors. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are this, is that Brian did not sell me one single thing in that whole interview. Not one. I sat back and I listened like a true producer does. He did not sell me a thing, not one article of clothing. But it makes me want to buy into Major Prep because I like the guy. Like I could see myself sitting down and having a beer with Brian.
Yeah.
And that's sales. That is sales to me in a nutshell. So I appreciate his time, and I'm going to be going on his website. See if he has any golf polos.
There you go. He does. So, I mean, listen, I think I told you guys in the beginning of his interview, my interactions with him, and he's just a true leader. And, even though we come from very different backgrounds, I think we've both been able to kind of use our adversity as motivation, and we had an immediate connection with each other. Now, he literally has, I think he's about to reach 10,000 books in the hands of inner city, well, not just inner city youth, but youth in general, where he's laid out his principles, which he shared in his interview, to help people live a better life. And that's really what he's doing. And while he's doing that in his day-to-day, his cultural brand of Major Prep is just taken off. I mean, I'm seeing it on backpacks in gyms randomly in our area. I've seen professional athletes wearing it. I've seen teams now all over wearing it, including Susquehanna University, Middletown High School, I believe. All of these schools where they're buying into his model of success, and I'm so proud of him.
The passion that he has about his brand and his business is really something to be said.
It really is.
I mean, it's just so good to see, and him thriving, and the passion. Like, he can't wait to wake up. He can't wait to wake up and go to work, and that's how you know you're successful. It's not the money coming in. It's not necessarily a product going out. It's if, on a personal level, if you are happy waking up in the morning and going into work, that's success.
It really is. And it's funny, his slogan line is stay focused, remain humble, and keep working. And that's what he said. And he'll repeat it. Stay focused, remain humble, and keep working. And how about his tips for preparation? Our leadership topic of the day is being prepared, right? Preparing for anything that life can throw your way. And if we're not prepared, we're not really setting ourselves up for success. And that could be being prepared professionally, being prepared personally. Life's going to come at us quick. It really is. And if we're not prepared for what it's going to throw at us, we're going to struggle. And I think we can use that analogy even with sports. And it's funny. I like to try to, he talked a lot about his training methodologies and how he's going to, he literally trains professional basketball players, guys in the NBA, guys at D1 colleges, down to 6-year-olds. And the one thing I've learned from Brian, and I hope anybody that I work with can feel the same way, is if I have an impact on your life at all, it's one thing I want you to remember. And it's, I don't want you to be the best in your area. I want you to be the best you can be. So I think one of the things we can learn in being prepared is we're not prepared. Let me use basketball. We're not prepared in basketball to be as good as we could be if we never play against the 7-footer. If we're always playing against the kid who's just as big as us or just as good as us, we're not prepared. We need to go play against somebody better than us to prepare us to know what it's going to take for us to be the best we can be. And I talk a lot about that in business too, right? Like, I think so many of us entrepreneurs think small, and we need to think a lot bigger. We need to be prepared for what our real potential is. And Brian talked about that by what did he say? 300?
Yeah, 300
goals at each level. So 1,200 total goals is what he set, because he knows that you're going to get complacent once you set one or two and you complete them. You're going to think you're somebody. And he knows that you're not reaching your full potential. There's literally 298 more things that you can accomplish even after you get those first two. And that's the thing that, I think we can all learn with being prepared. I want us all to leave this podcast today trying to be prepared to be the best person we can be at whatever we're doing. If you're a coach, go get your team to play the best teams you can play, right? If you're a player, go find the best kid and try to beat him. Don't take pride in beating up somebody smaller than you. Go try to compete against the best kid. Go find that person and get better. If you're a salesperson, who's at the top of the leaderboard? Go take them down. Don't compare yourself to people in the middle. Be prepared to go do what you can do at the top of the leaderboard. So those are my thoughts, man. He energizes me, if you can't tell. I get jacked up when I'm around B-Mage. He calls me Cap, and Mrs. Cap is my wife, and he's always had that impact on people. And it kills me that I still couldn't get to play with him. I sat there that year when he came in and started as a freshman, and I had to watch because of my brain tumor. But, man, you come across some of these people and they're going to make a difference. And Brian Majors is making a major difference.
Certainly happy we had him on the podcast.
And listen, man, I think we all can take some wisdom, and hopefully you're all taking notes, because I surely was. And I'm going to use Brian's lessons in my life moving forward, especially those 300 goals. He still hasn't written them down. He's at 168 or something. Yeah. I'm going to just work on getting my first 10.
I'll do it with you.
Sounds good. We're going to dance together.
Oh, yeah. We still got to do that.
And we're going to set some goals together.
We're not going to dance together.
Why not?
Well, okay, fine. Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
I'm all in.
Okay. And we're getting it on camera.
Okay.
All right, brother. Great episode, and we can't wait to see you on the next one.
Are you a business owner, a leader, or an aspiring achiever looking to turn life's challenges into powerful fuel for your success? You've come to the right place. Get ready to unlock the secrets to turning life's hardships into your most powerful ally. Your hosts, along with our incredible guests, will help you tap into your own Lauer power and guide you towards the success you've always dreamed of.